What's going on, you guys? Matt Thibeau here from Savant Marketing Agency. And in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 things that you need to have in your contracting business before you start advertising. Now, the reason I made this video is I've been doing a lot of calls lately with contractors who are starting to get into advertising, or they're starting to want to get into advertising, in my opinion, a little bit prematurely before they get these 5 fundamental things in place. And I think that by making this video, if you implement a lot of the stuff I'm going to teach you, then you're going to learn what exactly you need to have to make sure that you can actually have a very successful marketing campaign. Because if you don't get these 5 things in place before you start advertising, you might start getting some crappy leads. You might just not be getting, enough leads. You might not close them. What I want to share with you today is just a very good foundational aspect of marketing that's going to help you get a lot more success. Now, I'm going to draw something here real quick and just, be patient with me because my drawing might not be so great. But I want to illustrate a point just from, drawing you this example. So think of your business, kind of like this house, right? So we've got this house, and a lot of the time, what I find is that contractors will try to market their business without having a very stable foundation with their marketing, right? And as we all know, you probably have seen this type of thing before, but if you don't have a stable foundation on a house, what happens to the house? Well, it might topple over, it might sink, it might just be a complete disaster. And so what we want to make sure is that anytime before you start marketing, you've got a stable foundation in your business so that, here, let's draw a stable foundation. Now that's a stable looking foundation. So we want to have a stable looking foundation in your business so that we can make sure that you're actually set up for success, right? So what I'm going to do is give you these 5 things you can do in your business that are going to set you up for that success. So let's jump right into it here. So before you start any kind of advertising, what you should have in place first is a really good name for your company and a really good focus, or I call it a niche that you want to focus on, right? So the other day I was talking to a contractor, and he used to be a subcontractor, and he was focusing a lot on just doing like subcontracting carpentry services, like framing and stuff like that. And then he decided, I want to start going out and working with homeowners. The problem is that the name of his company had the word carpentry in the name, right? So it was like, Smith's Carpentry Services type thing. Just an example. It's not the actual name. And so that is going to hold you back if you decide to start going after a more residential market, right? Because that is a very commercial type name. Like that is positioning you as being a contractor who is working with a GC, right? Homeowners, when you approach a homeowner and you use languaging like, we do carpentry services and this kind of stuff, that is not a consumable product in the eyes of a homeowner, right? And so if you want to do high-end remodels, for example, then I would use the word something like Smith's Design and Build, right? Or Smith's Renovations or Smith's Remodeling. You need to use the word properly in the name that you choose, right? So, using a name like, Smith's Contracting LLC, like it's good, but this name sounds a little bit too commercial, and it doesn't really position you properly if you want to start getting into doing higher end work with with homeowners, right? And so what I would recommend is really taking the time to focus on creating a great name for your business. I know this might sound basic, but you'd be surprised at how much this can really hold you back. What I recommend in the name of your company is making it very clear what it is that you do. So for example, if you're a painter, put the word like painting in the name of your company. Don't just say like Smith's Contracting and then you're a painting company. Say like Smith's Painting. You know what I mean? Make it very obvious in the name. Like, why do you think that I named our company Savant Marketing Agency? Then you know it's a marketing company, right? So make sure that you take the time to make a really good name for your business, because having a great name is going to position you for the right amount of growth that you want later. Like, you don't want to be growing to like $1 million and then to realize like, man, our name kind of sucks. Like, we need to change this. You want to take care of that pretty early on and before you start advertising, because all of this stuff is going to build the brand. The next thing too is having a focus. Before you start doing any kind of advertising, it's really important that you have a focus in your contracting business. I like to call it a niche, right? And so you need to understand, what is it that we really specialize in? And then just focus on that in your advertising. And sure, maybe on the back end, then when you start having a sales conversation, then you say, oh, by the way, we also do bathrooms, or we also do flooring and this stuff. That's all part of the sales process. But on the front end of any marketing campaign, you should have a focus. So if you are a landscaping business, you need to have a focus first that, hey, yeah, we specialize in gardening, or we specialize in, patios or whatever. And then you have the other stuff, but at least you have a focus going in so that when you're advertising, you can focus in on that service, right? Very, very important. So that's the first thing that you should have in place. And by the way, like if you're a landscaping company, like Smith's Landscaping Services, make it very obvious what it is that you do. I can't stress that enough for the name. Very, very important. All right, so number 2, before you start advertising, very important as well, having a great reputation. Now, when I say this, a lot of contractors will think about the reputation that they have offline, right? They'll think about like, oh yeah, we get lots of referrals and great word of mouth. That means that we have a great reputation. But it doesn't stop there, because if you're planning on doing a marketing campaign or advertising online, then you need to have a great reputation. I should add this actually, online. So you need to have a great reputation online. So what does that mean? What it means is that you should have plenty of Google reviews when someone searches up your company online. So if I type in example construction, and then I see on Google, I should see great reviews on Google, 5 stars on Facebook, maybe 5 stars on Yelp or whatever. I should see a great reputation across the board, because what this is going to do is make it much easier for you to attract leads if you're doing online marketing. Because guess what? When you're doing online marketing, whether it's on Facebook or Google or wherever, people are going to be Googling your company before they reach out to you, and they want to see, can I trust this company? What are other people saying about this business? It's called third-party validation. And we want to make sure that when someone searches up the name of your company, they see glowing 5-star reviews. And so this is something, before you start advertising, that you need to put a lot of effort towards. And when I say this, then contractors will be like, oh yeah, I've got 5 or 6 5-star reviews on Google. You need to get to a place where you have at least, I would say, 25 to 30 5-star reviews on Google, and then you're moving to another level, like 50, 60. Put a lot of work into this, because you will thank me later. You're going to be like, wow, this actually makes a huge difference. We literally just had a client text me the other day, and he's working a lot on his reviews, and he was going in for submitting a proposal for a homeowner, and they literally sent him a text being like, yeah, it was down to you and someone else, so we decided to move forward with you just because of your reviews and what everyone was saying. This is going to really, really help your advertising efforts later on. Trust me. All right, so number 3. The third thing that you must have in place before you do any kind of marketing campaign is, I call them marketing assets. Now, this one's extremely important as well, and this is something that we find as a personal challenge if we're working with a client, and if they don't have these fundamental assets in place, then we have to work on those before we actually launch. So what are marketing assets? Marketing assets are, for contractors at least, typically are things like awards or certifications, or something that we can use to leverage to basically give you some more authority, so that we can be like, hey, this is a great company. They're rated, kind of going back to the reputation, they're rated 5 stars on Google, they're rated 5 stars on Facebook. they won this award for, 2024, like best contractor of the year. And these things aren't hard to get. This is the type of thing where like these websites like House or Homestars, they give out these little badges, and a lot of contractors I know are like, oh, that's BS, But the thing is that all of this stuff adds up. And when you have all of those things on your website and you're showing it in your advertising, this is all going to stack up, right? And people are like, wow, this looks like a great company. So having really good marketing assets, things that like angles that are going to make you seem like you're a real authority, are going to make it so much easier to get you results in advertising. Another type of marketing asset that you should have is just an unbelievable amount of content. So like pictures of your work, pictures of your crew and you guys working, videos, you should have a Google Drive that's just stacked with content, like all sorts of pictures, just from whatever. You should have everything documented, because all of that is a marketing asset going forward for social media, for your website, all that stuff. Get into the habit of taking a ton of pictures and videos of your work, because all of that stuff, once you're ready to advertise, you can just deploy it, right? And you're going to have enough of it to sustain your marketing campaigns for months on end. So very, very important to have strong marketing assets in place before you do an advertising campaign. And again, what that looks like are things like, these badges that you can get from Homestars or BBB badge. Hey, we're accredited. I know so many contractors think that BBB is bullshit as well, but the reality is that homeowners really trust these things. And the more of it, like I said, you can stack up, then people are going to perceive you as being this authority contractor, instead of you just having this kind of like entitlement to being like, well, if someone wants to work with me, then they're going to work with me. Well, it doesn't work that way. You need to be intentional with your marketing, because people who are outside of your referrals don't know who you are. So you need to make a compelling case as to why you're better than some of these other contractors, or why they should trust you, right? So marketing assets, very, very important. All right, so this is one as well that I think is going to help a lot of contractors right now by me saying this. And it's probably the one that you don't want to hear, but what it is you should be doing your own marketing first. So what I've found is that clients who are doing their own marketing on top of what we're doing for them are always going to get better results. So before that you start doing any kind of marketing with an agency or any advertising, maybe even yourself, what you should be doing is doing some marketing like for free on, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but you should be posting your own content. You should be posting pictures of your work and saying, hey, this is what we're doing, give us a call. You should be making videos of yourself. You should be getting into the habit of marketing your business and taking control of that. Because so many contractors are looking to basically give that up to another company, like an agency or some of these lead sharing vendors, and they don't want to have anything to do with marketing whatsoever. And that's okay when you get to the point of when you're scaling, maybe then you delegate, right? But in the beginning, you need to know enough, just enough, to be dangerous, right? So you need to get into the habit of posting your own content and doing your own marketing. Personally, I recommend you do at least 30 minutes per day of marketing stuff. At least. Book it in, do it in the morning, and you just sit down, post a couple pictures on social media and just be like, hey, this is what we're up to. Give us a call if you're interested. You should be getting into the habit before you do any kind of advertising of posting your own content. Because like I said, it's going to help your advertising because it's adding to the overall ecosystem of your marketing campaign. And then also, you're going to understand just enough to be dangerous so that when you do hire an agency to help you out, you have at least a bit of an idea of what type of advertising works for your business. So then you can work together with your marketing agency to say, hey, I found that this picture worked really well, or I found that this video works well, or this one doesn't work so well. You're going to have a little bit more of an understanding, and it's going to help make the overall results of your advertising a lot better. All right, and then the fifth one that you need to have in place before I recommend you do any kind of advertising are sales systems. Now, this is another one that a lot of contractors who are used to referrals before they start advertising, this is one that can really trip you up if you don't have this in place first. So, before you do any kind of advertising, what you should have in place is firstly a system or a script or a framework of what you do when you get a lead come into your business and what does that process look like. Because too often contractors are used to kind of just winging it on the phone. Like they'll talk to someone, they're on the phone with them, and they just go down this rabbit hole of talking about, the scope of work and all this stuff. And then before you know it, you're throwing out random pricing over the phone. And the person's like, okay, let me think about it. And then they never get back to you. And so if that's happening even with some of your referrals, if you start doing advertising, that is going to be exacerbated. Like that's going to be even more apparent because these people have no idea who you are. And so you need to have a solid system in place for handling discovery calls and booking appointments. You need to be very good at booking appointments and appointment setting and understand basic sales skills before you do any kind of advertising. So I would highly recommend that you start reading some sales books and just understand the sales process, right? Understanding how to take a stranger, talk to them in a consultative manner and say, okay, what are you looking for? Okay, what's your timeline? Blah, blah, blah. Perfect. Qualify them a little bit, book them in for the appointment, and then you just have that process that's dialed in, right? Before you do any advertising, you should understand that. The other aspect of sales systems is you should have some kind of software in your business that's going to help you track and keep track and follow up with and measure your leads. Because if you're just running ads without any kind of sales system on the back end, it's called a CRM, a client relationship management tool, then what's going to happen when you turn advertising on is you're not going to have the adequate follow-up systems in place, and a lot of these deals are just going to slip through the cracks, and you're going to leave money on the table, right? And so you need to have a CRM in place for your business. Popular ones for contractors that I would recommend would be stuff like Jobber, House Call Pro. There's a bunch of them, but you do need to have a CRM in place before you do advertising, because that is going to allow you to squeeze the most amount of ROI out of the leads that you're getting so that you can make sure that it's actually a profitable campaign. So these are the 5 things that I would recommend that you have in place before you do a advertising campaign, so you can just make sure that it all makes sense for you. Because so many contractors are trying to do advertising on these websites like House or Homestars or Thumbtack and all this stuff without having any of this stuff in place. And it's kind of just like a treadmill that you're running on, and you're getting leads, but you're not actually building your own brand. And so then you're stuck wondering like, hey, like I've been doing Thumbtack or House and all this stuff for like a while and I haven't built my own brand. Like what's going on here? Or, hey, I'm running these Facebook ads and I'm getting like shit leads. Well, it's because you don't have any of this stuff in place. And so get this in place, and then you will be positioned in a much better spot to do really great advertising and grow your company. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below in the comments below. I'd love to answer any of your questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this, give it a subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're watching this right now and you're interested in learning a little bit more how we might be able to help you out with growing your contracting business, you can go to savantmarketingagency.com, or in the description there, you can just DM me on Facebook and say, hey, what's up? And we can chat a little bit more about how we might be able to help you out. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day and you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.